We're not unmuted. That's why it's not working.
Yeah. It's recording too, right?
Yes, sir.
Might as well at this point.
Exactly.
I mean, this is the whole inception of everything.
Exactly. That's why let's get this baby rolling.
Right.
So
right.
the name, what are we thinking? Like, we're in finance and crypto and, all that goodie.
I mean, it's got to be broad. I mean, it has to be worldly. It has to be that broad anyway. You know what I mean? Because what we're going to be speaking on is not going to be focused content
right.
anyway. There isn't any. It is going to be focused, but not one focal point. You know what I mean? So I feel like we're going to be elaborate. And that's going to happen on accident. Personally, I believe, because the way you think and the way I think and the way our conversations go, we could talk about one thing and it will lead into. We might go on a tangent about something.
Absolutely.
That. We could be talking about the economy. We could be talking about war. We could be talking about religion. You know what I'm saying? And we could be talking about love or personal relationships or building. Whatever.
Absolutely.
So
I think that's the power of economics as well, is that it does touch every facet of life in that regard. And we're not even really trying to podcast, but I'm just saying that is the power of what we're doing, is that we can talk about anything because everything has money involved, and especially in this world nowadays. I think there's something to do with the crypto side of it. I think that is kind of a flashy name now, and I'm not quite sure, but I think it's a good idea. We're just a brand. Like, that's the most important thing nowadays. Like, companies that are just Google's AI got leaked in terms of how all that works. No longer is it just like, if you are a poster shop. If you were to search for poster shops back in the day, postershop.com would come up. It's not like that anymore.
Yeah.
It's all about brand, right?
Exactly.
So we could call ourselves anything.
Exactly.
Right? It's all about what we put out, though. But
Right.
I think, of course, we could agree there's some benefit to having like a flashy title or something where people can expect, oh, they're going to talk about this, and a little bit more credibility.
Exactly. And actually, I think that's that last word that you said, credibility. That's where that idea comes from, honestly, because I think that we don't want, if we actually sit here and make something that's focus on something that's flashy, which I'm not really in agreement with, like to make something flashy per se. I think it's important to just let them know where we come from and let them know that they're getting good quality content, not necessarily some kind of gimmick. You know what I mean? I don't want to be gimmicky.
I don't want to be gimmicky either, but I think that when it comes to a name, you get 1 to 2 words. So if you're not using those words wisely, there's a million other people starting a channel, right?
Yeah.
Like, you have to do something to stand out nowadays, right? So it has to be branded. That's what I'm saying, right? It doesn't matter what you're doing, but I think if you're people who are successful nowadays are those who are branding what they're doing with their identities, right?
Yeah.
So if we call ourselves the Crypto Brothers, for example, or Crypto Finance Brothers, just something along those lines of like, it's the guys talking, right? It's already that connotation. It's not a family podcast. It's not this or that. It's the guys are going to be doing some sort of investigative work. How can we reverse engineer that, funnel that to, you know what I'm saying?
Right. I wouldn't want to limit us by doing that. You know what I mean?
Well, you have to have a name.
No. So with the title such as Crypto Brothers, you know what I mean? I like the name, right? Don't get me wrong, right? But I wouldn't want to limit our content based on the name. You know what I mean?
You don't have to, and that's the benefit of there's a slippery slope here, and like this is actual like podcast material that we should save for another time. But in production, people there's two trains of thought, right? You can either create boundaries and stick to those boundaries forever, or you know what the you're doing and you just have to own it. Many people do not have the guts and the knowledge to go this route. But if you can make content, crypto's so intertwined with everything nowadays, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you can have, and I don't think Crypto Brothers is a good name. It's just an example of a name of how like you can connect people who are talking together in a subject. But nonetheless, these general concepts, like everything touches each other. So we, like you said, we can't talk about crypto or any of these other things without talking about war, without talking about the stock market. Like, so it's really the branding identity. So there's some people who would say, well, if we talk about crypto, we have to do only crypto. And it's like, there are people that do that, and like that's their train of thought. Because they have done that for so long, if they do deviate from that, they probably will fail because they've set up that boundary. Right? It's really all about how you want to produce your own shit. Like, in my opinion, right? Yeah. So if we do something like that, then you can play with that.
Yeah, for sure. That makes total sense, you know, and I agree with that. First of all, I wanted to go back and say, because when you first started speaking, man, you sound like you're supposed to do this. Oh. Yeah, I just have to let you know that. You know,
I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, seriously, like, and it's not because you always have. The way you enunciate your words, it's always great, you know, proper grammar and all of that, but it takes more than that to actually be able to have a speaking voice, you know what I mean? And you do have that. I mean, I heard it, you know what I'm saying? So I kind of smiled. You probably didn't pay too much attention to it, but when you first started talking, it's like I heard the vision that we talked about, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I do feel like I'm blessed with a great speaking voice, you know what I mean? But, you know, I'm also a modest person, but when I heard you, I was like, okay, you know, we might really have something here. You know what I mean? Like, and I love this because, first of all, this is our first podcast, technically.
Absolutely.
And I mean, we can call it Inception or we call it whatever. But I mean, this is we're having a podcast about making a podcast. Ain't that some? Has anybody done that before? Probably not. You know, but that's what we're doing. You know, so. You know, I like that in itself, and also it speaks a lot to our personalities. First of all, good humor, and then apparently we like to just jump in the shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true. we don't shy away
at all.
Well, I appreciate that. Those are kind words. Yeah. And, you know, I feel like it's confirmation. You know, because I just jumped and ran. I didn't think I was gonna get this equipment for years, and then, like I said, something came over me. Call it divine. And I just pulled the trigger and got all the equipment necessary. And I feel like there's a lot of stories to tell, you know, and there's a lot of value to provide to people too. And like, that's 100%. The other thing. YouTube's a game, and you know, switching in and out of this, because especially for the first, like, I'm willing to break the fourth wall a little bit right now. YouTube is a game. It's a muscle, and you need to take it over time. You need to love it, right? But it will take care of you. And it is ridiculous now how people don't even really realize like how big YouTube is, right? And people, the statistics are out. Like, there was a study done with like thousands of startup channels, and people who are doing YouTube full time, like acting like it's a full-time job, are making. Well, we should just pull it up. It's like they're making their first dollar within like 8 to 10 months. And they're actually fully self-employed by like 12 months, right? Oh, wow. And then they're hiring staff at 18 months. Like, this is from like an average of like thousands of startup channels. Like, so it just goes to show how lucrative YouTube is and how the consistency. But if we stick to this, it's one of those like, it's business is as real as you want to make it. And I keep telling that to all my friends, and people are stuck in their own worlds, but it's as real as you want to make it. I mean, that's just the honest truth. Yeah, no doubt. I mean, the limitations are just it's kind of endless, really. I love YouTube. I mean, I probably can make a whole commercial about YouTube because you know, to be honest with you, I don't pay for YouTube, but I watch probably YouTube more than I actually watch any kind of other streaming service, and I have probably about a half a dozen. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I was paying for Netflix 2 times a month, and I had no fucking right, man. I was so mad when I found out that, and I was just kind of looking over stuff, and I don't know why I spaced and just didn't catch it early, but you know, months down the line, I'm looking, wait a minute, didn't I just pay them like 3 weeks ago? And just kind of did the track record, and come to find out, I had technically 2 accounts under this, but they were, so 2 accounts under my name. They were telling me that I somehow created a second account and the representative tried to put it on me. Right. And I was like, no, it's you guys. You guys compromised my card or whatever. And they're like, no. And I said, well, you guys have a bad track record, actually, because I do some research. I looked it up.
hey, is anybody else getting double charged from Netflix? You know, oh yeah, I've been double charged from Netflix. I've been double charged. And then, have you seen that that commercial? I can't think of the name, but it's that app where you can actually, it'll tell you what you're paying or whatever a monthly.
I've heard of it. Yeah.
Okay, so it's funny because in that app, or excuse me, in that commercial, that app references people paying for Netflix twice. Because people are like, oh, I paid twice for this app, and then it's like a red box, and you know it's Netflix. So
You know they're playing. Yeah. They're playing, bro.
Yeah. So honestly, I have to give them my new card. I had to get a new card as a result of it. That's fine because it made me look at everything too. So I actually like that reset. However, it was a hassle for one, and for two, I don't know if I want to go back to Netflix, but I don't know. But YouTube, I watched YouTube more than anything. And YouTube has helped me take an engine out, put an engine in,
Right.
taught me freaking a ton of stuff about blockchain technology, and is why I'm investing now, you know, become a part-time investor, you know. So YouTube is fantastic. It's also taught me how to change my toilet.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's really the only platform nowadays where you can change a toilet, you can learn a textbook, you can start a podcast, you could do whatever you want. This is the idea of the information barrier is as low as it's ever been, right? The accessibility, as long as you have a Wi-Fi connection, you can access all of this information for free. But of course, everyone has their own self-limitations.
Right.
But becoming aware of that's the most powerful thing.
Right,
Because
right.
then, I mean, it's an infinite library. You will think about it. In your lifetime, no one person could ever go through the plethora of knowledge in YouTube. That's exciting to me. That's exciting.
Yeah, me too. And I just love it. I love that. And I put it on, it's like habitual, you know, I put it on all the time, you know, car content, music videos, obviously. I think a lot of people watch music videos and stuff, but I use it to learn just a lot. You know, when I have a DIY that I need to do, YouTube's, you know, helped me, you know, be a, well, actually, I probably won't go into that.
Well, I think I got
Exactly. We got to work on that queuing it up. I gotta figure out how we can queue that up sooner.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Oh man. Where's your 5-year prediction for YouTube?
5 year as far as technology wise, or as far as what?
Okay, 5 to 10 year for the platform is YouTube. Like what
do I see them doing in 5 years?
What utilization does it provide? Because I don't want to speak. I don't want to give the answer what I think. Go ahead.
Well, I think so. First of all, it's going to be hard to fathom, but I do think YouTube's going to get into the AI realm. Like everybody's getting into the AI realm. So there's no way that they're not going to get into the AI realm. I think they're going to really try to start selling more of their streaming services. They're going to really try to market that, and maybe even market educational videos possibly in different videos. You know, I mean, I do think they're going to expand. I see them being, I don't know if they're going to expand to the extent of like an Amazon, where they're getting into all kind of different things,
right? And
maybe getting the stuff that is not going to work or might not be working, at least right now. Like they try to get into medical and they're kind of backing off on that.
Sure.
It's little stuff like that. But it just tells you how these companies are trying to expand themselves. You know, you look at Elon and you look at Tesla and you look at, what is that? And I said this wrong the other day, and I don't want to say it wrong today, but I probably will. So I said the other day, I said Skynet, and I know it's not Skynet. What is his little?
Oh, Starlink?
Starlink, exactly. So, you know, you have Tesla, Starlink, and so he has these different ventures, and then you have Twitter, you know. So I don't know if YouTube's going to do that, but I do think that they will be around, but it's going to be more stream-based, maybe market-based. They do have a lot of data, and
yeah.
And I do believe that they will get into blockchain technology. There's a possibility that people will be able to monetize their content more than they already are. It may have more control with blockchain technology.
I think an example of that already actually is there are YouTubers out there who have registered securities, through the SEC.
Oh, I've heard about that.
That have offered shares essentially in the form of NFTs, channel revenue tokens. I purchased one, so I know what it's like, and it's legit. Like, it's literally buying a share of a company, and you got to be careful with the evaluations. You don't want to overpay, of course, but it's just like a stock. And whether or not YouTube does it in the future is remain to be seen. But I personally, I see YouTube just being a massive utilization tool in the future, just because we're talking about, the plumbing and then the car. And I think it's going to continue to be normalized to use tools in the future. I mean, we've seen a few AI tools have come out now, like wearables that are trying to make it more accessible for people, but it's not hitting the market. The market's not ready for that. Everyone has a phone though, right? Everyone can download an app. I don't know. I really personally feel like this would be my big prediction is I see teachers coming to YouTube more because I'll tell you this, I have seen some horrible YouTube content, things that are sometimes wrong or it's not well explained regarding all types of educational material, history, math, we need good teachers in this world.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
most of the good teachers are not accessible. That's the honest truth, right? They're literally teaching somewhere. They do what they do best. They teach, right? They need somebody on the technology side to come in and help them. But beyond that, I see that being a big thing.
Yeah, we don't invest in teachers, in schooling enough in the U.S., unfortunately. And I think that's one of the biggest problems that we have in the States is that, we really need to pay the people that prepare our future, and we just don't put enough money into that. And we actually, and I'm saying we as a country, we kind of penalize people for getting their education, and that's what's hard. Getting education is great, but the amount that it costs to get a good education, that's what's tough. And then, so, our public school teachers, they definitely don't get paid enough. Professors, they do all right, but
I to kind of butt in just real quick. I think that's the value of YouTube is that it provides equitable access for anyone, right? So if you want to be a professor on there, it's probably not going to be worth it. I mean, maybe if you love YouTube, it's good. But I see this more being advantageous for that teacher who's only making $40,000 a year.
That's what I'm talking about, yeah.
And you know what? We were just referencing the statistics of, it's like people that are going full time or becoming self-employed in a year. Right. So imagine you're recording every single one of your lectures and you can't get your students. That's fine. Just record your voice. Right. Oh my gosh. Right. Like especially if you're doing this more of a passive thing, if you're not actively doing it, or you could actively do it. Right. Record a video once a month. Give it a couple years. You're going to be making a full-time another $40,000 just from YouTube. And guess what? If you just keep posting a video every 2 weeks, boom, you're going to make more money on YouTube being a teacher than an actual teacher in the public school. Yeah,
agreed. And I think that's already happening. I think you already hit
that.
I think you hit that nail on the head. I do believe that is already happening.
I've passed courses because of YouTube and certain teachers,
that's
like
what I'm saying.
Chemistry and whatnot. Like there are some phenomenal teachers that are definitely doing
this.
That's
what I'm saying.
for sure.
So kind of what I'm getting at is like even I am signed up to a subscription of one of my favorite crypto YouTubers, and the thing about him is that he has his own YouTube university. You know what I'm saying? So you could pay for it, and you're paying this monthly subscription fee. He's getting this residual income, and if he gets enough people, then he's surpassing these teachers. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
And he actually studied to become a teacher. And so shout out to KG, Keenan, but. Yeah, he was actually he studied to become a teacher. He stopped, and I think he was teaching, if I'm not mistaken. He backed out to pursue investing full time, do options trading and just all kind of trading and investing and also teach online and teach through YouTube. And so it's amazing how they are absolutely. You hit the nail on the head. I mean, that really is the future. So why that makes sense? Why go stand in front of a class, run the risk of being shot?
Or getting sued now.
Or being sued or whatever, when you can just make passive income online, and you're getting paid for videos that you did 7 years ago. You know what I mean?
That's the beauty of it, you know? And to me, I consider myself, you know, I want to archive everything because there's an art to preservation of history, and people would be so shocked as to how much stuff is just lost, right? And so much of knowledge in teaching is up to interpretation and the teacher, right? And there's different styles of learning, there's different ways of explaining it. You click with different people, so why not have that opportunity to hear it 10 different ways? Like, that's what's being rewarded now. And there's so many teachers that they're so valuable, but they're only heard for literally the second they speak, and that moment's gone. Right, that's the power of YouTube and these other platforms, to be able to give them the platform, right? Like you said, that video from 7 years ago is still helping students.
100%. I love that, and you really highlighted something that I do habitually all the time, but I really haven't. I mean, I know I do it, but it's something that I think it's good to speak on, because I think other people may be able to learn from it. First of all, if I'm researching something on YouTube, let's say I'm trying to figure out how to install a part, I'll find as many videos as I can watch that aren't relatively super long.
Right.
And it's like they almost all have little bits and pieces to tell you, or little gems to tell you on how to do it, maybe the easy way. Like you'll hear the standard way or the most common way, then somebody will say, oh yeah, and if you do this, you know, it's just a little easier or whatever, you know? And I've actually done some stuff, you know, that was relatively super easy that I've watched on video that were like 10, 15 minutes long, you know, but I was able to do it in literally like 3 minutes, because I watched this one video where this girl was like, oh yeah, to get this part, you know, you're really supposed to unscrew this bolt on the firewall, but it's really hard to get to. But I was trying to move the little tube out the way. I have a Mustang, so it's a sound tube. So I was trying to move this tube out the way, and I accidentally popped it off. It came right off. And I was like, okay. You know, it was that easy.
To me, that just shows like how everything is being rewarded on YouTube. I mean, I think there's different levels of traction for different levels of content value. You know, people who are literally just vlogging their life, right? Imagine somebody is just vlogging their life, right? And let's say this lady, for example, and she's going to the store, she knows what she needs, she's trying to fix this up, right? And she's now documenting her process of fixing it. What worked, what didn't work. Hey, these are my tips and tricks. Maybe she was trying to do that, maybe she wasn't. It just happened, right? So the average person just recording their life is being rewarded now. I mean, and it's just so awesome to see how the information is being served. And, you know, to me, I see AI helping out in this regard, because, okay, we have an hour-long video of this person doing whatever, living their life, you know. It can be hard to find the information of that specific 30-second clip, right? I mean, that's the other thing of, hopefully that accessibility will only get better.
Yeah, absolutely. AI it's amazing. I mean, we're starting to use it at my job, and of course, you know, it makes me nervous. Oh, we have my little buddy in the background. You might hear him, you know, but he's very special. He likes attention. His dog. Yeah, he's yeah, I know, right? I guess we gotta disclose what I'm talking about, right? Because it can be taken anyway. That's not Tyler doing that. That's funny. But yeah, no.
AI is coming back. I think personally, AI is right now, it's going to go up, and we're going to have a big retracement, and it's only going to come back in really 5 years. That's a personal belief. There's so much being invested into AI right now where it's being oversold and under-delivered, right? And that's exactly, and, you know, it's a touchy subject even right now. I mean, as we record this, you know, it's only early August, and there's a lot to be seen with what the feds are doing, and AI I wouldn't be investing in it just yet, right? Like, if I had no money in it, and I would not put $1 in it today, I would probably wait, because I think that the market's going to go through somewhat of a pullback when they realize that AI isn't as profitable yet. And it's part of the, you know, I like to figure out why. Why? It's because the framework isn't there. There's no infrastructure, right? Same thing for like EVs, right? We don't have the infrastructure to drive long range, you know, and do all these different things, right? If you want to fix it, like, don't make me buy one, you know, let's invest in the infrastructure to make it happen, essentially.
Right, definitely. But, you know, AI is the searching that you can do on AI is really amazing. And so, and we pretty much know that. I mean, anybody that's played with Chat GPT or any of these nowadays, you can do AI on your phone. They sell AI on they're all integrated in these phones that they sell now. So AI is not going anywhere. And you're right. So how they do that, how they set that platform, how they set that infrastructure is exactly what they're doing now. They put them in everything. They interject them everywhere. They're going to be in TVs. They're going to be in our phones. They're going to be in every single thing. You know what I mean? So what's going to happen is they're going to all be able to communicate with each other and probably bounce off, who knows? I think that's
you're
gonna
right.
I think it's going to be limitless.
I think there's going to be a big collective effort, but I think that people are really excited right now. And when people get excited, they get FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. Nobody wants to miss out. So they're a little bit more reckless with their money. And I think that some of these companies are being a little bit more, they could do a little bit more due diligence in terms of explaining their process and how, hey, we are pretty early and we are literally developing the infrastructure within our own companies to be able to do this sustainably in the future, right? Because that's the honest truth, that they're not setting out the roadwork to expand now. They know they're not going to succeed in 10 years because it's anybody's game right now, right? Whoever's getting it done now and can literally systemize it will be the top dog in 10 years, essentially, right? Yes. But they also know, that's why they want, hey, invest in us, but it's a slippery slope, right? Because if everyone's claiming 100%, not everyone can be first place, right? So there's many people, I believe, in the future, before we collectivize and recognize a company as more of a gold standard, people are going to lose a lot of money, and essentially we're going to pay for a lot of development through lost money, which is part of the innovation process. But my only concern is that I hope that we have companies that are really trying to do better for society and not just rip people off. I'll say OpenAI. OpenAI was said to be open source forever, and now you have like the CEO who's like, oh, we're doing different things, and now you can pay for like turbos, this, that, or the other. But it's also it's opening this question of the future of like equitable access to AI, right? I don't want the government to control AI. Like, let's be clear. I don't want to go to AI.gov and be able to search. No. But there should be some standard in terms of like what is fair, right? Because if you have free access to AI and I claim to have access to free AI, but because we're in different parts of the states or whatever, it's different. Your data set could be completely different than mine and give completely different results or something completely incorrect, and we could have different lives because of it.
And that is a whole nother rabbit hole. So, misinformation. Oh my gosh. So that's another thing. Because we're going to take a lot of people, as they already do, they're going to take something, they're going to run with it. You really can't do that in this day, unfortunately. No. And it's going to get worse. Like, it's going to get more that way because AI is only as good as the questions that you ask. So if you ask the wrong questions, or you ask a very open, if the question is too vague or too broad, you might get the wrong answer for what you're searching for,
right.
What you're trying to get. So people are going to take that information and run with it, not knowing that they have the wrong information. And just imagine how that goes through the generations, right? Like, just think about that. So, not current day, but, it really is current day. But coming up to this point, we use curriculum. We use school to basically, dish out that curriculum to the kids. And so it was pretty even-handed as far as the type of information that they were, teaching the kids. There was some variation depending on where you were in the country, but it was pretty, I'm sure there was a standard, basically, right? Nowadays, it's different, especially with this information. And so if you have, and I hate to say it, dumb teaching, the ignorant, you know what I'm saying? You have dumb person teaching their ignorant kids, and it's lack of knowledge. Not that the kids are ignorant kids, but just lack of knowledge, right? The kids are going to grow up with misinformation that they're going to teach their kids. Right. You know what I mean? So just or they may figure it out. You know what I mean?
I fear this is happening in all facets of life right now. And, especially in this age of technology and the idea of like at your fingertips, you can find anything. This idea of, I want to be self-employed the rest of my life because, and I was telling my mom this, right? I would rather make $40,000-$50,000 working for myself than making hundreds of thousands working for somebody else. You know,
I feel that.
There's a freedom. You know, like
Right.
you can't always go with the curve, you know, and that's a really important thing for AI, for all these things. Like, people need to start bringing back their discernment and to really tie it back into the podcast. Like, I feel like that's part of the reason we're starting this podcast is to bring info back to the people, because there's so much in this world that is really more intertwined than people think, you know, and that's an honest truth. Money is touching everything right now, from AI, from policy. I mean, there is literally so much that's under the rug that average Americans don't realize are affecting their lives way more so than whatever's being fed to them in the nightly news.
Yeah, man, I love this content. Well, you guys, we're going to go to a commercial break, and we're going to let you hear some of these tunes as we take our break.